win the Super Bowl?
Well, look, it tells me that the Bucs are extremely talented. No matter how much Skip Bayless tries to peddle the theory, this is a Buccaneers and they're a downtrodden organization.
Well, they were.
But are they talented? Yes or no? This is what we're talking about. We're not talking about the past history. That's what you tell me. You said, let's stick to the issue at hand. Is this not a talented football team?
Who has 4 of the top 5 on that list?
Who has 10 of the top 15 on the top list?
Would you rather have 4 of the first 5 or 10 of the first 15? Would you?
Let's see.
Wait, does that mean you're going to pick the Buccaneers?
No, I'm not.
Oh.
And plus the fact that Jason Pierre-Paul was 29. Devin White is 30th. Donovan Smith is 42. You mean to tell me of all the players that's in the Super Bowl, they got these guys ranked outside the top 20? Really? So he goes to even show you that there's even more talent on the Tampa side. And I've said this before. If you look at these rosters, top to bottom, Tampa Bay is more talented than Kansas City.
Really?
Kansas City has the more firepower offensively.
Okay.
You look at Mahomes, you look at Kelsey, you look at Tyreek. I get that.
Chris Jones was ranked in the top 5.
I get but Skip, our defensive guys don't bring the cachet that an offensive guy does.
Okay, but he's number 1 on this list.
Yes,
he's the first defender ranked on either team.
First defender ranked, but how many of the top 5 are offensive players?
Well, obviously.
That goes to show my point. And 3 of those top 5 are Chiefs. So I get where because it's an offense-driven league. Remember, Skip, the quarterback, people want to see points, and the Kansas City Chiefs can provide that. But it also tells me, Skip, Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play one of his better games because if he doesn't, Tampa Bay has more than enough talent to beat them. This is not going to be, and if they lose this game, this is not going to be the monumental upset that people think it's going to be. This is not the Patriots upsetting the
greatest show on turf.
Right, the Rams. This is not the Broncos 11-point underdogs to the Packers beating them. That's not that, Skip. This is not the Jets beating the Colts in the Super Bowl.
Joe Namath.
Right. This is not that. This is a very talented football team with an immensely historic, transcendent quarterback on the other side that happens to be a 3-point underdog to a team that's talented, but I don't believe they're as talented as the Buccaneers. So Patrick Mahomes is going to have to play one of his better games. Spags is going to have to dial up one of his better defensive game plans because Tampa will be ready to play. So that's what this tells me. Looking at this ranking is that the Buccaneers are more talented top to bottom than the Chiefs. But a lot of people, because of Patrick Mahomes, believe the Chiefs will win this game.
Just because of Patrick Mahomes, because most people think he's already the GOAT, correct?
No, I don't think people think that.
They do. They just think he's the greatest ever, not on achievement, but on eye test. That he's just better than, at this moment, he's better than Brady's ever been in his life, right?
Yes.
Okay, got it. So, I ask again, why did Tom Brady look around the NFL landscape and say, I choose Tampa Bay? It's because of this list, because he saw it coming before, at least I saw it coming. I think we were, I'll go so far as to say I was shocked he chose Tampa Bay, right?
Well, I think we were all, before the simple fact, Skip, is Tampa Bay. But as you say now, when we look at this list, you see why he chose Tampa Bay.
So there was much conjecture and speculation to the point that John Lynch and your man Kyle Shanahan admitted they seriously considered, let's take a run with Tom Brady. I think they should have. That's just me. I think they should have just said, let's try 2 years of Tom, maybe 3 or 4 years of Tom. With that roster looked better at that point than this roster looked.
But here's the thing. The question was, Skip, is there's a lot of people that probably want to take a chance with LeBron, but LeBron chose the Lakers. Would Tom Brady have been interested in the 49ers as he is in Tampa?
Okay, well, he's from there, and that was his childhood idol team, Joe Montana's 49ers. So it just made sense. I'll go home and I'll finish at home, but they said no ultimately, okay?
So you believe he would have, if they would have said, Tom, we love it?
I do, because they were the Super Bowl runner-up, and it came within a late throw of Jimmy Garoppolo missing Emmanuel Sanders for them to win the Super Bowl.
But what about his boy? That means his boy is not going to have a job. Him and Jimmy G are close.
You think he really would have cared about that? Well, that would have been if Kyle and John Lynch had said, look, we've had our run with Jimmy G, and we think we've gone as far as we can go. And they would have to convince Tom, it's okay, we're going to trade him to X, Y, Z. The Chargers were also in the mix. Obviously, Justin Herbert turned out much better than we thought.
Yes.
But I thought that was his destination. That's where I thought, because he's had a home out here on the west side of Los Angeles and Brentwood before. So I just thought it's a natural segue for him to close there in a new stadium. They're opening up SoFi this year. So it would be marquee value. And yet he said, no, let me see. And he starts looking down. He had already graded this roster.
Yes.
So he's saying, okay, I got it. He's going deeper and deeper. And he's saying, man, this is a talented football team.
Yes.
Not star power dominant, because they did have 2 Pro Bowl receivers last year who did not make the Pro Bowl this year.
Right.
But now we look at this list. Well, obviously, Mahomes is at the top. I'm going to get to that in just a second. But 3 and 4 are no doubters to me.
Yes.
Tyreek, and they go Kelsey Tyreek, which is, that's what I argued yesterday.
Right.
I would slightly take Kelsey over Tyreek in overall value, but that's just me. But whichever way you want to go, 3-4-4-3 for those two, they are the 2 best receivers on the field on Sunday evening in Tampa at Raymond James. And then I was a little surprised at Chris Jones, because he doesn't catch my eye enough, but he is a game wrecker.
Right.
And they are saying, Pro Football Focus, that they have him graded right behind Aaron Donald every year.
Yes.
Okay, so that's firepower, man,
Yeah.
in the middle of that line. And he is hard to deal with.
Right.
And both the Tampa guards and the Tampa center, who are all ranked fairly high, especially one guard and the center on this list, they're going to have their hands full trying to keep him out of Brady's lap.
Yes.
Right? Because, as you always say, the best way to get to Brady is to just annihilate the pocket right into him, because he can't scramble. He's not a scrambler. So if it breaks down, you know how he goes. It's just going to be duck and cover, and so there's nowhere to step forward and make the pass. Okay, so now we get to tier 2, and all of a sudden you're saying, well, wait a second. Here they come, and they tie it up at 5-all through 10, but then the next 5, they've got it. And you're saying, well, wait, how can that be? Well, it's because all of a sudden it kicks in with Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, that's 11, 12, and 13 is Antonio. Yeah. Well, they get the next 5 on the list.
And then Shaq Barry, Carl Davis.
Okay, and boom, all of a sudden they're up 10-5 through 15 players.
Skip, think about this. It's hard for me to see there's a better defensive player. I believe the second, at worst case, third best defensive player that's going to take the field is Devin White. How is he ranked outside?
So to finish this off, if you go all the way down to 30, they win 18-12. So they have 18 of the top 30 players. Well, that should tell you that in and of itself, they got a shot to win this game.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Just on depth of talent.
Yes.
And that's top 30 talent.
Yes,
okay.
yes.
I'm with you on Devin White. I just about, my teeth almost fell out when I said, because I kept looking for Devin White. I said, did they leave him off?
That's what I was looking for.
Did they leave him off?
I did the same thing. I'm like, hold on.
He's 30th? Okay, so their point about Devin White is simply this, and I get it. They're grading him only off the regular season. There were games in the regular season when I will admit I got frustrated because he will come and go and then just stay gone.
Sometimes he freelance. He freelance.
Okay. Well, sometimes he just sort of drifts. He just drifts through plays, and you say, where is he?
Right.
He's 45, right? Where's 45? If he is called upon to blitz, he flashes. He jumps off your TV screen. If he's called upon to cover the tight end and get his hands on the football, he flashes because he can run with just about anybody in the mid-range of the field.
Yes.
Okay. So they're saying that because he gets caught out of position too often, that they are downgrading. They ranked him 69th among NFL linebackers on performance of the regular season. Okay, now, what happened in the postseason? Well, this is why I don't get their ranking. This is the only this isn't a quibble. This is a flat-out wrong. Yeah. In the postseason, for any linebacker who played at least 75 snaps, where you played 2 or 3 games, he ranked number 1 by Pro Football Focus. He was the breakout star of the...
So, Skip, what are we supposed to do with these 8.5 sacks he had in the regular season? Was he out of position on those? What are we supposed to do about these scooping scores, those interceptions, those leading the team in tackles that he had in the regular season? Are we supposed to disregard that? And how do you know Skip, first of all, unless you know what they're calling, how do you know he's out of position?
It's just how the play turned out. It looks like he's lost on the play. And it happened to my eye test. Sometimes I'd say, where are you going? What are you doing?
He might get caught out of position, Skip, but his makeup, his recovery is second to none. He
Second
can
to
close ground like a man that size is not supposed to be able to move like that.
Well, they had his teammate, his much elder statesman, way up high on this list in Levante David,
Right.
because he's way ahead of all the rest of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now let's go to the top of the list, shall we? So when I open this up, I will tell you this. Given Pro Football Focus's grading of Tom Brady this year, regular and postseason, I fully expected Tom Brady to be number one on this list, and it was your guy.
Man, I told you.
Well, you told me, but they didn't tell me, because all year long, just for the record, they graded Tom Brady number two in the regular season, but Mahomes was number 4.
Right.
Yes, Aaron Rodgers number 1. So it was 2-4 versus Mahomes in the regular season.
Yes.
In the postseason, Tom Brady has graded out, and again, he played 3 games to some 2 games.
Two Mahomes.
He graded out number 1 in the postseason. So number 2 in the regular season, number 1 in the postseason, and all of a sudden, to me, they copped out. They chickened out, and they said, no, it's Mahomes. And to me, their rationale, in my view, from a distance is, we look foolish if we put Tom Brady number 1.
Skip, I've been telling you, you look foolish saying that Tom Brady graded better, played better than Mahomes this year. You look foolish. Skip, the man threw 3 interceptions in the second half, and you said he had and if you just take, and granted, he went out early in the third quarter, but if you just look at the game at Buffalo, Tom Brady had no games in the postseason in which was as clean or as good as what Mahomes had against Buffalo. But you're going to say he graded better in the postseason than Mahomes? I don't see how.
Tom Brady in the postseason in 3 games had 9 big-time throws. Those are completions of 20-plus yards.
Right.
The next quarterback on that list had 5,
Right.
9-5.
Right.
That'll work. In the regular season, Tom Brady had 36 completions of 20-plus yards. That was by far the most in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
So he led the regular and the postseason in big-time throws. That grades, that just shoots that mark way up in their grading system.
But Skip, he had the most attempts at big-time throws, but he didn't have the best completion percentage on big-time throws. So shouldn't that be, Skip, if I hit the most home runs and I have the most strikeouts, really? I mean, that's not the same. It's saying, okay, yeah, I had the second most home runs, but I batted .325 as opposed to somebody hitting 55 home runs, batting .272.
Okay, I got it. But look at degree of difficulty that Tom Brady just faced in the postseason. He had to go on the road against the number 2 ranked defense. I'm just going statistically, number 2 at Washington.
Yep, I'm gonna use what you did against me. The bubble situation. Because there were no home crowds, it's really not a home field advantage.
Okay.
That's what you used on me against the bubble with LeBron.
All right. Just remember the number 2 ranked defense in Washington,
Yes.
and a pass rush that was at least top 5 because it is so deep in first-round picks. So that's what he's up against in game number 1. Game number 2 is against his arch rival and nemesis, the team that had annihilated and humiliated the Bucs in Tampa Bay the last time they had seen each other. That's the number 4 ranked defense in New Orleans, and he beat them and Drew Brees at their place, fans or no fans. I'll give you that. Then at Green Bay, there were some fans there. It sounded pretty loud to me because they let enough in that it would reverberate, and they made a lot of noise. That was the number 9 ranked defense, and that was Aaron Rodgers. So number 2, number 4, number 9 defenses, for what it's worth, on the road with no home crowd, nobody to back you up, against Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers on the road, and he still graded out number 1 overall.
Skip, a lot of part about being defense is being able to have the crowd into it. The crowd knows you can't hear the snap count. You're getting pre-snap penalties. I'm be able to jump the count. But if Tom Brady can go up there and says blue 19, ready, set, hut, and everybody can hear, I've lost the advantage of having the home field of what I fought for all year.
Okay.
So that's what you told me about LeBron. LeBron had the bubble that nobody else wanted to be there. He was able to lock in. So you can't say one guy benefited from being in an isolated situation while the other guy didn't.
Okay, so I actually love this ranking because Tom Brady does not miss a trick. He sees and knows all. He just will never respond to any of the above. He's as non-committal and non-controversial as any quarterback who ever played in a Super Bowl game.
Okay, Skip, this is what I ask you. If we we're going to take Tampa and we're going to take the Bucs, general managers, and we're going to ask the other 30 general managers who played the best football this year, Tom Brady or Patrick Mahomes, what do you think they're going to say?
I don't really care what they say. I know
So why we care what Pro Football Focus say then?
I don't know. It's just they're
No,
highly respected and highly regarded.
So general manager's not highly respected. See, this is what I'm finding out about you, Skip. As long as someone says something, hold on, just a second.
You're taking 43-year-old versus 25-year-old.
That's not the point.
Because they would think about, well, who would I want for the next 5 years?
No, I'm not talking about the next 5 years. I said the 20.
Okay, I'll take it right now. I will bet you Kyle Shanahan and John Lynch would sit back and say, man, I'll take Tom Brady right now. This game right here, right now. For your life, I'll take Tom Brady.
Yep, I ask you a simple question.
Yep.
Who played the best football this year?
Tom Brady.
Patrick Mahomes or Tom Brady?
Tom Brady. Degree of difficulty off the charts. Tom Brady does not have a Tyreek. He does not have anything remotely like Travis Kelce. Not remotely like Andy Reid does he have calling plays for him.
He got 10.
Not remotely.
He got 10 of the top 15 players. That's what he got. That's what he got.
Okay.
That's Tom Brady. He got a roster that's deep.
Who would you rather have? Let's ask those general managers. Would you rather have Tyreek and Kelce?
You don't care what the general managers think. You just told me you didn't care what they thought.
I'm giving in to your logic here, right?
Okay. But let me ask you a question.
No, you didn't let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
But I told you, Tom Brady, he is Jordan-esque. He's just like Michael Jordan. He sees all. He just doesn't respond verbally. He responds on the freaking football field. And that's what he's going to do on Sunday night. Patrick Mahomes has been disrespectful to him for 2 weeks. He's one of the best, if not the best. Then he's the GOAT, with sarcasm, says Patrick Mahomes, because he thinks he's the GOAT already.
So you see,
that's fine.
So anyone that doesn't bow down to Tom Brady, they're being disrespectful to him.
Well, that kid is, after Tom Brady blessed him after the AFC Championship
We don't need to bless.
Okay.
We do what we do. Let me ask you a question, Skip. Can you tell me where the Chiefs offensive linemen that made this top list?
Well, obviously they're hurt. We'll see how that holds.
So how they go? So how do they help Patrick Mahomes in this game? Now I want you to tell me where their linemen are. Alan Marpet, he's 8. Tristan Wirth is 9. That's top 10. Those are guys that protect. As a matter of fact, as I'm looking at this thing, Patrick Mahomes does not even have an offensive lineman in the top.
Yeah, but he's the GOAT.
Oh, hold on.
He's off the charts. We've never seen anything like him before. So what's he need linemen for?
Oh, so Tom Brady. So what about Tom?
What about him? He's immobile. He's a 6th-round pick. This guy should have been the first pick in the draft.
Who?
Mahomes. Only Andy Reid saw it coming, traded up to what, 10 to get him?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So at least he's a top 10 pick.
Skip, all I'm saying is, if you look at this, if you just going to base this on Pro Football Focus, and we using this as the barometer, it says of the top players that's going to take the field Sunday, the Bucs have the lion's share of them. That's what it says. So it tells me that normally what you try to do, you try to get the team that has the most good players. They normally win. If you don't, turnovers always come into play. But sometimes on a given Sunday, somebody turns the ball over, a fluke play here or there, and you lose. But if you look at it top to bottom, Bucs are mortality. This being an upset if the Bucs win is not the upset that you're trying to play it up to be, because what you're trying to do, you're trying to build more into it. That Tom Brady did the unbelievable. Skip.
Okay, time out. You're talking out of both sides of your mouth.
How?
You're telling me that Patrick Mahomes is much better than Tom Brady at quarterback. Far better. It's a joke.
Is this a skills competition one-on-one?
It's a joke matchup.
Let me ask you a question. Is this one-on-one Tom Brady versus Patrick Mahomes, or is it the Bucs versus the Chiefs?
Well, obviously, in the end, it comes down to quarterback play. Who plays the best in this game? And Tom's got to do more with less. More with less.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness. He doesn't have a Tyreek. He doesn't have a Kelce.
So let me ask you a question. So when he threw those 3 second-half interceptions, he did more with less. Well, no, his defense did more with less.
Okay, all right. But you say he threw those interceptions, so he clearly got exposed, you're saying, in the second half at Green Bay.
Skip, he turned the ball over. Ain't nobody exposed. What did he expose? He exposed, he turned the ball over. Well, and his defense gave up 6 points on turnovers. Where his offense, where they turned Aaron Rodgers over, they got 21.
Well, I hate to remind you, but 4 years ago on this show, you said it was time for Tom to retire.
That's neither here nor there. We're talking about right now and the talent that Tom Brady has around him.
Okay.
So if he was so great, why didn't he take when did he take New England to the Super Bowl last year?
He was in decline, obviously. That's what the Hall of Famer told.
Oh, no.
In decline. Time to go home again. It's time to go home. 4 years, 3 years, 2 years, and 1 year ago.
This is what I noticed about you. where it was all the receivers couldn't get any separation when he was in New England. He goes to Tampa. Now it's all Tom Brady. Oh, who is Mike Evans? Who is Chris Godwin? Who is this? And yada, yada, yada. So what you try to do is never Tom Brady's fault if they lose. It's all Tom Brady's fault when they win. I can't let you do that, Skip.
Well, I can't let you just throw the offensive line back at me how decimated they are, because it sounds right now like neither of the Tampa safeties is going to be full speed or even speed enough to play in the game. It sounds like both are very iffy.
I tell you what we do. I tell you what we'll do. We'll swap you. We'll take out our 2 safeties if you take out your 2 offensive tackles. We'll make it fair. We'll do it like that. You good with that? I didn't think so.
If it's Patrick Mahomes versus 2 backup safeties, God, that should be a mismatch.
Hold on, let me get this right.
Because Aaron Rodgers had 2 backup safeties the whole second half.
You got 2 backup tackles against JPP and Shaq Barrett. Wow. And they got 5 sacks on Aaron Rodgers.
Patrick Mahomes against those guys? Except you told me Aaron Rodgers is much better than Tom Brady, and I don't know what happened to Aaron in the fourth quarter, but he wasn't very good. He was like a sucking ear in the fourth quarter.
We saw what happens with pressure to quarterbacks. The same thing that happens with Tom Brady. We see him come in Super Bowls. What happens? He succumbs to the pressure. So he's not. It's not unique to Aaron Rodgers, although you would like to make it is about that, but it's not.
Well, I'm glad it's a mismatch at quarterback because Tom's paying attention and taking notes. Mismatch.
Nobody said it was a mismatch.
Everybody did. That's what you just told me. This is a joke.
I've been trying to tell you that. Now, all year, they said Tom Brady graded higher. In the postseason, they graded higher. Come time to Super Bowl, Patrick Mahomes is at the 1 spot.
Okay, so you got me.
I told him that's why I needed him to grade my high school papers. I could have went to D1.
I'll take Tampa +7. How about that?
No.
Why not?
Absolutely not.
I got a decrepit 43-year-old who's going to limp out there and should have to limp all the way into the sunset and go home.
You got the better supporting football players around that guy.
It's all about the quarterback in the Super Bowl.
Skip, not necessarily. Not necessarily.
Unless you tell me that the Bucs have the Ravens defense from 2000, then you got me.
I've seen in instances they kind of look like that. Did you see them keep Aaron Rodgers out of the end zone? He had it 1st and goal at the 8.
Did you see Tyreek get 203 receiving yards in the first quarter at Tampa on this same field?
But you keep telling me they brought them to a boil come December and January.
Yep, just enough to go on the wild card road to get to the Super Bowl.
Thank you for watching. You can subscribe here to get the latest from the show, and be sure to check out more of the best clips from Undisputed, or go watch a few other segments from our other shows on FS1.